Hey, this is Andrew Brown, and in this follow along, we're going to take a look at using S3 Glacier storage classes. Um, Now, there is, of course, S3 Glacier Vault, and they don't call it Glacier Vault, but I say the word Vault underneath. And so this is not what we want to use. We want to do everything within S3. So I have this repo called AWS Examples. I'm using Gitpod. You can use code spaces, whatever you like. But I'm going to go ahead and open that up. I already have it open up. And what I'll do is create a new folder in here, and we're going to call this Glacier. Okay, and we're going to create a README file here and get to work. So the first thing I want to do is create a bucket. Now, I do want to point out that if you do not want to create a file that you cannot get rid of for 90 days or longer, you can just watch along. You don't have to do this here, but the more experience you can get, the better. We are, of course, uploading the tiniest file ever, so getting any kind of major charge is very unlikely, but you need to manage the money yourself in the risk that you have with your credit card, okay? So we have AWS S3, make bucket S3 ://. I'm gonna type in S3 Glacier fun AB and put some numbers here. AB for my initials, random numbers so that we don't have naming conflicts. And so there we go, we got an object here. So what I wanna do is create a new object. So I'm going to just say hello.txt. You know the routine probably by now. Hello world. And we'll just echo that out. I'm going to make sure that I'm in the correct directory here. And we'll go ahead and create our file. And then I'm going to type in AWS S3 copy hello.txt. And this is going to go to this up here. We'll paste that in. It did not paste in. Of course it doesn't. Why would it want to do what I wanted to do? So we'll go ahead and do that. And so that will copy it to there, but we'll have to provide a storage class. Let's make our way over to the AWS S3 CLI and see for the copy command, I just clicked on CP there for the storage class name. So if we go down here, you can see I have Glacier, Deep Archive, Glacier IR. I like how this is 1.3 and they still reference it in here. I'm going to go to 2 and we'll go down to storage class. And let's just carefully read this. Grant specific permissions to individual users or groups. Oh, that's for the next part here. So there's Glacier and Deep Archive. Deep Archive is obviously going to be longer. Glacier is going to be for flexible, and IR I assume is instant, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah, it has to be because it's instant retrieval. So instant retrieval works just like every other class, so I don't feel like that is interesting to do, but Glacier is interesting because you have additional work to restore it. So if you put it in IR, all you got to do is change the storage class, but these two, flexible and Deep Archive, they're kind of tied to Vault in some weird way. And so that's what I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and use Glacier here as a storage class. And again, if you don't want to do this, don't do it. Just watch and learn, okay? We'll go ahead and copy this. I'm going to go ahead and paste this and see if I can place that in the bucket. It's in there now. Let's go take a look at that bucket. Going to give this a refresh for our buckets. We're in here for Glacier. We'll look for hello. If we scroll on down, we can see that it says formerly Glacier. So Glacier flexible retrieval. So let's go take a look and see if we can see the object, and it is right there. We can see it. So they say that when it's there, we can't easily access the file, right? So my thought is let's just copy the file. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, right? And I'm going to go ahead and say create S3, create a bucket with an S3 Glacier file. Let's see if we can copy the file. This is my expectation, is that I can't copy it. Watch, it's going to let me copy and I'm going to be confused. So we're going to go here and just delete this part out here. And I'm going to go ahead and type in hello.txt. And we'll go ahead and copy this, and we're going to go paste and see what happens. Copy, paste, enter. Oh, you know what? We have to specify the file. I'll just go here and type in hello.txt, and we will copy and hit enter. I mean, that looks right to me, like how we normally would copy, paste. We'll hit enter. AWS S3 CP. Oh, this should be lowercase. I'm not sure why that capitalized here. We'll try this again. Hit enter. It says object is of storage class Glacier, unable to perform download operations on Glacier objects. You must restore the object to be able to perform the operation. So that's what we're going to need to do. We're going to need to restore it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and restore. I need to go to the S3 API operations here. So we'll click on the AWS logo, type in S3 API. We'll click here. I'm looking for restore. And so we have restore object. I'm going to go to examples. We'll grab this one. This one looks good. And we'll go down below here. This should fail, because you have to restore the object. And then I'll go ahead and paste this in here. Okay, and so here, this is going to be restore the object. And we'll go grab our bucket name. And we will go grab our, well, key name. We'll just write it in here. And so now we have to say the amount of days that we want to restore it for. Can I just restore it for 1 day? Can I do that? We'll copy that. We'll paste it, hit enter. And so the idea is that we've restored the object. I guess my question is like, well, I guess what happens if we do this? We'll refresh here. How do we know that it's restored? Oh, it says here, restoration in progress. To upgrade the speed of your restoration while in progress, choose upgrade retrieval tier. And we didn't actually specify the retrieval tier. Normally we can specify what it is. I'm pretty sure we show that somewhere here. I'm just going to look for that in the slides, so we can just pull that up in the slide. I didn't think about that, because now we're going to have to wait 3 to 5 hours, and that's not that fun. I'm just looking for it here, the slides. I just can't spell the word archive. 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 Okay, so just give me a second to find the slides. Here we go. Okay, so notice here, like we have restore requests and we only specified the day. We could have specified those Glacier job parameters and changed the tier of it. And because I chose standard, now I have to wait 3 to 5 hours. If we had chose a faster one, it become faster. It looks like we could actually upgrade it, which I'm really surprised that we can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose 1 to 5 minutes. Apparently we could have provision capacity units. Helps to ensure that your retrieval capacity for the expedient retrieval when you need it. Each unit of capacity provides at least expedited retrievals. I didn't know there was PCUs in here. That's kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and say initialize the restore for 1 day. And I'm going to go ahead and hit initial restore. And so now it should restore a lot faster. So let's go back into that object. And we'll click into it. This object is stored in Glacier Flexible Storage class. In order to access, you must restore it first. Okay, and it says restoration in progress, 1 to 5 minutes. So now I don't have to wait as long, and I'll see you in a bit, okay? All right, so after waiting a few minutes, I did have to refresh here. It's saying that the restoration is complete. So now let's go take a look and see if we can access that file. So let's go ahead here. And what I'm going to do is, again, I don't think we can do a direct copy. So we'll try that for fun and see what happens. We'll hit enter. And we actually were able to download it. So it's interesting because when I looked up the instructions, they said you had to make a copy of the copy. And again, this is from the AWS documentation. I'm not making this up. So in practice, maybe you still should make a copy of it, or maybe the CLI is doing that. But the thing is, I mean, in a sense, we are copying it, right? We're making a copy from here to my local one. So Technically, that one is satisfied, I think, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, that still makes sense. So we are really performing that second one there. But yeah, so there we go. I guess the real question is, can we go ahead and delete all this stuff? So what I want to do is see if I can delete this. Normally, when you put things in Glacier, they have to stay there for a period of time. And if we can get it out of there, we're going to have to pay for it for the duration that is specified, if it's 90 days, 120 days, whatever it is, whatever we said in the lecture slides. But let's go ahead and see if we can delete this bucket. So the first thing will be to empty the bucket, and we'll go ahead and try that. So I'm going to go here and go back to buckets, and then go to here and say empty, and we'll say permanently delete, and see if we can empty that bucket. And it did empty it, so that's good. The next thing I want to do is just go ahead and delete it. And there you go. What we didn't show you here was restoring for S3 intelligent tiering. It would just take forever to get it into that tier. I don't know if there's any fast way to move into that archival tier in intelligent tiering, but this is sufficient for the the instant retrieval. It's, as suggested, instant. You don't have to do this restore object. But yeah, there you go. So we'll see you in the next one. Ciao.